everything goes wrong for him. With the other driver, maybe like Guan Lu Zhou, he'll be sitting there and it will just tick for him straight away, and he'll be dominating the practice, dominating qualifying, all this sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, it's pressure on the other drivers chasing him for the championship, isn't it? Because they're thinking, well, hang on a minute, I've got to beat him. I can't beat him at the moment, so I've got to try and find. And that's when they take the risk, and that's where they go above their comfort zone on that track, and that's when you get the accidents. The accidents don't happen to a Formula 1 or Formula 2 driver unless they're pushing beyond what they can physically do or what the car can physically do. And that's where we'll have the accidents this weekend, because no one knows where the limits are until you go over them. It's not like, Brazil or Abu Dhabi where you've raced there a few times, the limits of the car. This is a brand new track. You've got to find the limits and then know where the limit is in 3 sessions, or in F2 1 session. So it's a vital practice session. And even in qualifying, I think that will be to some extent a practice session ready for the race. It's just going to be so on it, so non-stop for everyone, that I think they'll be happy this will be the last season, in the last race of their season.
Yeah, well, we just have to wait and see. Again, the championship is very, very volatile coming into the penultimate round. What my eyes on Robert Schwartzman, what can he do? I think it's been safe to say he's had a very, very disappointing season by his and Prema's standards. But he's having a bit of a late comeback, with some help from some reverse grid race wins. And I'm interested to see what he can do. Can he chase down Guan Yu Zhou for that second place? If Zhou has a bit of a shock over these last 2 rounds, we just have to wait and see. Again, what do you think is going to happen in F2? Do not be afraid to get in touch with us at Motorsport Radio on all good at social media platforms. And now, just for a final point, let's talk about Barcelona for a bit, because why not? It turns out we got announced I think it was late last week, the Catalunya circuit, the Barcelona, I can't actually remember what it's even called, that's how much I dislike the track.
Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona.
Thank you very much, Josh. It turns out that place, it does testing and a race as well. It's extended its contract with Formula 1 to 2026, so we'll be having a Spanish Grand Prix for the next 5 years guaranteed. How are we feeling about that? With the new regulations coming, could be quite interesting. We've had some good races at Barcelona across the years. This one, to be fair, this year it was pretty all right. What are we feeling? I know that the current cars haven't really raced too well there, shall we say? But with the new regulations in 2022, what we reckon? I reckon it could be all right.
I mean, there's something about that track that makes it an exciting Grand Prix. I don't know why. Yeah, it's weird. It shouldn't do, but it does. I don't know why, but it's one of those Grand Prix that you just can't turn off. And I can't work out why. I can't remember.
I did turn it off this year, Josh.
I can't remember any Grand Prix racing there. That's how boring they've been. But at the same time, I watched them. So it's really weird. It's a good track to drive. It's difficult, challenging, and at the same time very rewarding and very fast. With the new cars, it will be interesting to see how they do it. And also, with this new contract, it'll be interesting to see whether the Formula 1 do the testing there rather than at Bahrain. Because obviously Bahrain was because of COVID, but it'll be interesting early next season to see whether they go back to testing at Catalunya, or even they go back testing at Jerez, where they used to.
I will say this about the new contract, which is I completely despise it. But Barcelona has run its course, as it were, as a Formula 1 track. It's had its glory years.
Bless you.
Oh, don't be that harsh.
No, it's had its glory years. It's had its run, and it's just too tested on. We test on it too much. F1 teams know all about it. There is no secret to the Barcelona circuit. This year's race was exciting because 2021 has been exciting. That is it. That's the only reason it was good.
But you could say that about Silverstone. You could say that about Monza. You could say that about Monaco. You could say that about Abu Dhabi. You could say that about Bahrain.
There's part of that circuit that flows, is the point. With Spain, it just doesn't flow. It's all about that one straight. You can't overtake on really much any of the other places. And the one corner other than the Sark straight that you could overtake on. They changed the camber of it this year to go to the MotoGP layout. And I'm like, why? It ruins the only other good corner on the track. You fools. But no, Barcelona, it's run its course. Look, I'm fully up for Formula One staying in Europe and staying in its heartland. But this was not the circuit to keep. Go to Jerez, back to the, I don't know, Valencia street circuit. I know you can't, but it's just an example. Go to Germany, for goodness sake. Like, you know, go to any other country. But don't go back to Barcelona for anything other than pre-season testing, because it's run its course. We don't need it. Formula One has gone past the need for Barcelona.
I think there is an argument that the cars now are too fast for that circuit. I think is the best way of putting it.
Formula One cars are too fast for Monaco, but they still work well there because Monaco.
Yeah, but it's Catalonia, you said, because there's no overtaking, because you got that one straight. But all the other overtaking opportunities that there are on that track, I mean, you've got turn 4. That's an overtaking opportunity because you're going into a braking zone. You can pull out the inside and overtake there. And you can go wide and run the outside there. 2 lines. You know, you've got turn 5.
2014.
Yeah, turn 5, another overtaking manoeuvre. You got turn 8, another overtaking place. Turn 9 into the hairpin, even if it's the fast one. It's still an overtaking manoeuvre. But because of the Formula One cars being so quick and able to stop so quickly, it gets rid of them. And this is the argument about all these circuits. You know, even this street circuit is going to be the same thing. The cars are so good now that there isn't really anywhere to overtake because they're fast and then they stop so quickly that you don't have that long braking zone to pull up on the inside. You don't have that opportunity to, you know, brake a little bit later than the next person. You don't have the opportunity to go up the inside somewhere because the cars are like 7 feet wide, you know. So F1 now has become more processional than ever before due to the ability of the cars. The cars are too good for the tracks. And even the new tracks, there isn't physically able to make a track that will create good overtaking on a Formula One car anymore.
Well, it's an interesting statement. I think there are 2 things I would say about Barcelona. And one of them is the fact that there's the test circuit. And, you know, there's the tracks that everyone knows because everyone's been there before, you know, Silverstone, Monza, like you said. But Barcelona, because it's the testing circuit, everybody knows it. They could drive it with their eyes closed. No, I'm not joking. It is. And I think that's part of the reason why we just have such processional race there. Yes, you know, the modern regulations, it's difficult to overtake, especially at a circuit like Barcelona where there's not a lot of overtaking opportunities for high downforce cars. But it's because everybody knows it so well. You know, it's just kind of turns out that everyone just goes out there and just, you know, puts in, you know, 70 odd test laps. It's like another test session. So it ends up being a procession. And the other thing I will say is with the modern regulations, and as a result of the processions, you know, I agree with Connor. I think it's run its course. I think it's absolutely fine as a test circuit, but I don't think it should be on the calendar anymore. But unfortunately, we've got 2 pretty successful Spanish drivers on the grid, so that's a pipe dream. I think, you know, the last race that I can remember watching and like actually remembering the entire race and not just moments of the race was 2012. Maybe 2013. You remember moments from the racing, don't you? Like 2016, we all remember what happened in 2016 with Rosberg and Hamilton. Like there is one moment I vaguely remember Martin Brundle being, oh yeah, you can see all like the top 4 cars in one shot. This hasn't happened since like 1972. And then like, you know, this year, I remember Mercedes pulling off that ridiculous strategy and overtaking Verstappen with a few laps to go. Don't remember the rest of the race. You know, 1996, everyone remembers that because that was, you know, arguably one of the finest drives that we've seen in the history of Formula One with Michael Schumacher lapping 5 seconds lap faster than anyone else at one point. But again, do you really remember the whole race? No, you just remember the stats. And that's the problem with Barcelona, I think, is it's a stat circuit, not a race circuit.
I mean, you end up hoping for weather, don't you? You end up hoping for monsoon-like Spanish rain conditions. You know, you end up hoping for some adverse storm to affect the race halfway through.
Yeah, but it's Spain in May. That won't happen.
Well, we'll put Barcelona in December then. There you go. Get a bit of snow involved.
We did. I mean, we did have snow at test in that one year.
True.
Was that last year? Year before last?
It was a couple of years ago, but you're right. It was it was weird.
A bit of a weird one, that one. Yeah, maybe extreme weather is the answer. What do you think? Do you think that we should just hold Barcelona in the snow? Because that'll be exciting, won't it? They will get to turn one at about 100 miles an hour, hit the brakes, and then promptly run into the wall. Don't be afraid to get in touch with us at Motorsport Radio on all good social media platforms. Unfortunately, that is all we've got time for here on the F1 show tonight. Of course, thanks to Josh and Connor, my two. Oh, you're on this side of me, I think. Are you that side? Yeah, you're that side of me on the screen. But yeah, thanks for joining me, boys. It's been a pleasure as always. And of course, don't be afraid to join us same time next week, same place for our review of the penultimate round of the season and our preview for the final round of Formula 1 season. That's a bit boring, isn't it? Final round.
But it all starts again in 3 months' time?
Yeah, but that's 3 months of not doing this.
Yes, it's 3 months of Josh telling us that the season either ended in the best way possible or the worst way.
Yeah. Well, we guess have to find out.
Verstappen wins, and you can officially call me the Rage Against the Dutchman.
All I'm going to say is that, potentially after, Jeddah, so potentially next week or the week after, Josh is either going to be mentally and physically broken or the happiest that you have ever seen him, and he just will not be able to stop beaming. But we'll just have to wait and see what Josh we're going to get. Thank you very much for joining us here. Yeah, tune in and find out. Thank you very much for joining us here on the F1 show. And well, same time and place next week, and it'll be the Jeddah review and the Saudi Arabia. That is Saudi Arabia. It's the Jeddah review and the Abu Dhabi preview. So take care. See you then.